Here's the project for today. Upcoming soon, I have to do the clutch on Judy's Subaru, so she needs to have her Buick to drive. Problem is, the Buick has the most obnoxious oil leak on the face of the earth. A little while ago, I corrected it from the front, resealed the timing cover. We did the oil pump and everything. That sealed that leak. But this vehicle seems to be convinced to have some kind of oil leak. So once I fixed that, it started blowing oil out of this valve cover. I changed the gasket and it made it worse. I'm not really sure how, because the way this gasket is set up, if you can see it on camera here, there's little rubber, nibs that hang out of the gasket into the valve cover. So I know the gasket is all the way around the cover, but yet it literally just pours oil out. So I'm going to take it off and put studs in it, just in case somehow I folded the valve cover gasket over, even though I don't know how I could have because all those tabs are showing. But I think with the studs in, I'll be able to center the gasket on, because it's really hard to get this valve cover in past the heater box, and it's not any better on the other side because of the power booster. So that's going to be the project for today. Hopefully the studs will center the gasket better and seal it. Well, I didn't find anywhere where the gasket was pinched, and the RTV went all the way around, so I'm clueless to why that was even leaking. Did, although, just discover a random vacuum line that goes back to the back of the carburetor, which apparently is going to nothing. I have no idea where that would go. It's been unhooked, I guess, since we owned the car. The trans line is hooked up, the vacuum line to the distributor is hooked up, vacuum line to the booster is hooked up, PCV hose is hooked up to the front. This was just laying down the back of the transmission. When I had the carburetor off, I unhooked the carburetor and put it back on. It's hooked up to the carburetor, but it was never hooked to anything. Which is funny because the car actually ran okay. So, I don't know, maybe it'll run a little better now when I plug that. I have no clue where that could have possibly gone to, because this car, for the climate controls, uses levers, not vacuum. So it was just laying back down here somewhere. Maybe it used to go to the EGR valve that's blocked off. Don't really know, because these were plugged off when I got the car, and I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna get the studs, clean this up, and re-gasket it, and I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't leak. If it still leaks, I'm just going to assume the valve cover is just warped beyond repair. But the motor's coming out in the winter anyway, so if I just get the seal for a few weeks, it'll be good enough. Now we're outside. I got everything all cleaned up. I put these studs in. I have the gasket and the valve cover on. I'm going to try it with no RTV in case that was the problem last time. It's a rubber gasket. I'm not really optimistic, but we'll see what happens. The bolts that came out of this thing had to be modified. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here is the style bolts that came out of this. Come on, focus. Okay, anyway. The bolts are in there. They must have put the thread on after they put the bolt through and expanded it. And, crap. Well, you can't get it off. So what I've been doing is I'm cutting the heads off the bolts, pushing the bolt through, and then I got to drill it out bigger, because it's actually still too small. I'm using 1/4-inch studs and they won't go over them. Is a little Dremel tool with the cutoff wheels. Surprised I'm not going through about 10 wheels per bolt, because what normally happens. But here we go. There we go. That comes off. And I just have to drill them out using the press here. Now I have it all back together. There's the valve cover spreaders with the studs and the block washers and nuts. But now I'm just waiting to see if it leaks. Wait till it gets all warmed up, and I don't know, hopefully it'll seal this time. If not, it's probably going to have to leak until, I mean, I could try with RTV, but other than that, until I get some cast aluminum covers that aren't going to be warped.